Do you want to talk a little about safety in queer spaces in the 80s?
Yeah, it was pretty complex actually. There was death and dying. There were difficult decisions about treatments because until 87 we really didn't have much. And the ones that came along were fairly toxic. There were strained family relations, especially around deaths and funerals, and there were slip-ups and ongoing infections. However, while that was going on, simultaneously there was the ongoing growth of dance party cultures. So the ones at the dock started, there were mega events like Mardi Gras and Fair Day, and there were special nights at hotels, and sort of the stuff that you do now was, there were bits of that happening.
Mm-hmm.
And running through that, of course, were the newer illicit party drugs, and which for many people I think were an induction into tribal belonging. The event and the drugs together, people got along.
Yeah,
and felt like they belonged somewhere. And of course those events gave pleasure, and belonging and pleasure together generate hope, and hope has to be part of what safety feels like in my book. So safety for me has got a lot of dimensions to it. It did then and it does now, I think. Yeah. Kane Race wrote in Archer magazine about 3 or 4 years ago, nightlife operates as a zone of playful exchange. It's a space of exposure to difference that can make that can change your take on things, how you feel about the world. The best nights make new things possible.
Yeah,
and even in my day, that was true.
Yeah.
And that's what I imagine you produce.
Yeah.
That possibility in some of what you do.
I think so. Yeah. I think, for some of us, it's a way to kind of escape day to day and feelings of maybe not feeling safe or celebrated. I wanted to start it because, I didn't feel like there was a safe space for me to be like wholeheartedly who I am. And I knew a lot of my friends felt that way too. And gay spaces weren't really the right fit if you were like non-binary or gender fluid or multi-gender attracted, or even if you had like accessibility needs, they weren't really being met. So there were heaps of people who just weren't accessing spaces when I came out, which was in Sydney. Like lesbians had Newtown and gay guys had Oxford Street. But I remember going to Oxford Street and feeling like I was taking up space where a gay man should be and seen as like a fag hag, or I wasn't seen as queer. But there was still a lot of like biphobia, multi-gendered attracted phobia, and as a trans person, it wasn't always a welcoming space.
Yeah.
So that's when I decided, like, I was running events for hipsters, just like festivals and dance parties and bands nights and whatever, and I was like, I need to make a space where like me and my friends feel safe and celebrated. So I think that's like the core of like why I did it. I wanted people to realise like how amazing it is to be queer and how special it is, and like to be welcomed with open arms as soon as you come through the door, and if the rest of the world isn't welcoming, this is the space where you will be. For me it always just comes back to like helping people find each other and celebrate each other. And remind each other. I always say that it's not only okay to be queer, it's fucking fantastic is like my slogan, and I believe that to my core. Like I think it's really incredible, but I do think it can be a journey to find like where that sense of belonging, and I know that was lacking for me for so long, but it was really nice to find community through creating unicorns. And
that's sort of what it was like for us too, at a different time.